I want to read something about obstacles. I'm going to continue this discussion from the Bhagavatam. It's from the 11th canto, and this is a quote, and I believe this is a quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Although there may be many obstacles on the path of a sincere devotee who is preaching the glories of the Lord, such obstacles increase the determination of the devotee. Therefore, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, the continuous obstacles presented by the demigods form a kind of ladder or stairway upon which the devotee steadily progresses back to the kingdom of God. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.4.10 purport. So this is a beautiful thought, because obviously obstacles aren't fun. But if you think about it, an obstacle is either going to make you better or it's going to make you worse. It's going to make you worse if you give up or you give into it. And then you become weak because you've engaged in an obstacle, which usually means it's something that is taking you away from Krishna. But if there's an obstacle and you use it to see your weakness and heal yourself, strengthen yourself, deal with that anartha, whatever the situation may be, then, as this purport says, the obstacle actually becomes a stepping stone. Or in that sense, you could say the obstacle becomes necessary. And I think most of us realize, even though we may not like it, that obstacles are necessary. And this is actually the way I go back to Godhead. A lot of people say that life is just about solving problems, moving ahead, becoming successful. It's just problem solving. You've got one obstacle after another that you have to solve. So if we apply this, and I think it's valid, we apply this to Krishna consciousness, it's just one obstacle after another in the way between us and Krishna, and one obstacle after another that we have to solve. And every time we solve that obstacle, we've come one step closer to Krishna. It's just another thing in the way that's no longer in the way. So I'll tell you something that's interesting, and I think we could apply it this way. This one man was talking about sales, and he said, at least in the old traditional system of face-to-face sales, you normally, statistically, will get 9 people to reject you before you sell your product, or even maybe get someone to listen. I don't know if you have this experience on book distribution, whatever your number is. Number's not important, but let's use the number 10. Out of 10 people you approach, 9 will reject you. So he was saying, and I like this idea, and I think it's great for book distribution. He was saying, every time you get rejected, you think, well, I'm just one person closer to getting over the 9 until I get to the 10th. So he said, that way you don't become discouraged. You go, okay, thank you. 9 more to go. No, thank you, sir. Okay. 8 more to go. 7 more to go. And then finally you hit your jackpot and you get that person. So if we look at Krishna consciousness as a series of obstacles we have to overcome, and as the obstacles come, instead of shrinking or running away from them or not facing them, we think, okay, here's just another obstacle I have to overcome. Okay, that one's gone. I'm one step higher. Oh no, here comes another obstacle. Okay, we deal with that. That one's gone. I'm one step higher. And so Krishna consciousness will be a series of obstacles that we have to overcome bit by bit. Now, some of these obstacles are just coming from the environment. Situations happen. People turn against us. Just, the normal things that we can't control. But still, it's a challenge, because it could challenge us to want to give up our Krishna consciousness because we're being attacked, or maybe being attacked or criticized by many people, and we tried so hard to do everything right, and people don't appreciate us. We may just want to say, I give up. Which would be understandable, but we can't say that. We just have to say, okay, it's just another obstacle. I have to learn how to move out of the way so I can take my next step. And so that way, in a sense, we can say, Krishna, put as many obstacles as you need so I can go back to Godhead. Sooner the better. I'll be ready for them. And so we won't run away from the obstacle. We'll be strong, and we'll realize this is actually Krishna sending me just an opportunity to help me in some way by putting an obstacle and guiding me, as we said yesterday, giving me intelligence how to deal with the obstacle. And once I've learned how to deal with it, this is the beauty, and this is why it's so bad to run away from obstacles, because once I learn how to deal with it, then whenever that obstacle comes again, which it will, I already know how to deal with it. It's not going to be a problem, or as big a problem, or it might not be any problem at all. But if I run away from it, don't learn how to heal it, then what happens when the problem comes again? The same problem. I don't know how to deal with it. So that's an important point, and that's the beauty of dealing with problems, because once you deal with it, you can say, okay, now I know how to deal with this situation. I've learned from this. I just had this experience the other day that I wasn't good at dealing with a certain kind of person. And certain kinds of persons don't actually want to be instructed. They really don't. Although they come across like they do, but they don't. And I had to learn the hard way when I meet such people. Don't try to instruct them, even though they sound like they want instruction. Just listen. That's what they want. That's the best thing for them. And so it's a lesson I've had to learn over the years. Maybe I haven't learned it completely yet, but I'm learning to listen better to people who want to be listened to. And so it's a challenge. I've failed many times, but because I failed, I've seen the result. The result was not good. And so I'm learning to listen, or perhaps also not to argue with people who maybe say something that isn't really right, but it's impossible for them to understand what they said isn't right, and therefore there's no use to argue with them. So just yes, yes, yes. You maintain a friendly environment around them, because if you try to establish what's actually right, they're not ready to accept it, and that it creates a very discordant relationship, dysfunctional perhaps. So these are my personal experiences of learning. But now that I've learned, or I'm getting to learn, and I'm better at it, it's easier. Next time is easier. So that's the importance of not running away from these obstacles.